Hey everybody, my name is Steve Holbrook and I am fired up to be here today. Is your team struggling to close the deal and wondering why your sales aren't where you want them to be? Are you new to the insurance or sales industry and might be wondering why you aren't getting the desired results? If that's you, then watch this video until the very end. These tips can help you in getting that first sale in your business. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the top reasons that you and or your agents are not closing business. One of the coolest parts about my business is that I have the opportunity to fly all around North America to talk to different teams and different businesses. Everybody's always asking me, Steve, how come my team can't close? What do I need to train on? How do I become more effective in teaching closing and closing in general? So let's get into it. Here's my first point. Number one, poor preparation. The separation is in the preparation. There's a saying from Benjamin Franklin that says, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. The first reason why salespeople may struggle to close a deal is that they may not have done the proper preparation before they go in to close that deal or help the client. It's essential to know everything about the product or service that they're selling, as well the prospect's needs and expectations. Without proper preparation, your agent may not be able to address the prospect's concerns or demonstrate the value in the product or the service. Here's what I recommend. Every single week, we get on a Zoom call and we get the product reps on the call. And the product reps are training our teammates on how to talk about those specific products. It really helps. Our goal is to get all of our licensed agents on there with the experts explaining the product, and that really helps with the mindset around it. That's something that we've done with our team a long time, and it really helps our team in closing. Here's one of the next reasons why people don't close, is they lack confidence. Your team may also struggle to close a deal due to lack of confidence. Now, if they lack confidence in the product or the business or the service, it's going to be really challenging for them to convince anybody to make that purchase. Building confidence takes time. It takes practice. And people in sales can do this by rehearsing their close and seeking feedback from their colleagues. Another thing that we do in our team is we do a ton of practice. We call it practice, drill, rehearse, PDR. If one of my new agents has a plan to carry back to a prospect, I want to see them practice closing it to me 4, 5, 6 times. And we don't practice until they get it right. We practice until they can't get it wrong. This builds confidence in the closer and helps them be able to present a proper plan to the prospect and a plan that they believe in. My next point, poor communication skills. Good communication skills is essential in any closing situation. Your teammates may not be able to close a deal if they can't communicate effectively with the prospect. They should be able to explain the features and benefits of their product or their business in a way that's easy to understand. To overcome this, your team should be practicing active listening, asking open-ended questions, and working on improving their verbal and non-verbal communication skills. We just did a 1-hour training on this 2 weeks ago in my business. In fact, we just trained our team on this last week in my training. I also trained my agents on energy matching. I talked about the concept that if the person you're closing the deal with or trying to recruit has an energy level of 4, you can't try and close them with an energy level 10. You have to match the prospect's energy. You have to match their body language. You have to match their tone because it's the frequency that they want to receive the information at. Now, before I move on to the next one, if you want to know more about how to partner with me, then feel free to check out the description box and the link below. You may or may not be a fit for me, but again, book a meeting with me. Let me interview you to see if you'd be a fit for my mentorship in my business. Okay, here's the next tip. Here's the next reason why your teammates can't close. Because they're not meeting with both decision makers. Oh my goodness. Your agents always need to meet with both decision makers, and this is probably one of the reasons why they struggle to close a deal. If they can't overcome this objection where they can't get in front of all the partners, it's a non-starter. They are dead in the water. When I'm presenting a plan to a husband who is married, I'm making sure that the wife is on the meetings. Listen, I'm not going to sit there for 45 minutes and present my plan so that he or she can take it back and go try and explain it to their spouse. I'm going to make sure that both decision makers are on the call every single time. I call that a one-legged appointment when there's only one on the call. You have to get all the decision makers, both partners, on every single call. Your teammates need to understand how to overcome this objection and make sure that they're getting in front of both people. When the husband says, I make all the financial decisions, I'll just meet with you. Or the wife says, my husband's not involved with the finances, or my husband's not involved in the sale. That is a bunch of BS. You have to get in front of both people. Think about how hard your teammate works to get in front of that person. They put that prospect on a list. They call them for 3-4 weeks. They book a couple meetings to get on the call. Just to finally get on that call to meet with one person, then they do a presentation, and then they present a plan to one person so that one person can take it back and try and explain it with no experience to their spouse or their other partners. Of course, the result is failure. You have to get in front of both spouses, both partners, every single time. Or if you're selling to a business, you have to get in front of all the decision makers, or you are wasting your time. My next point is lack of follow-up. You've heard of this one, right? Follow-up was something that I let fall through the cracks early on in my business more often than not. Wow, this is where you can find so much money and so much income. But after being in business for almost 2 decades, I can tell you that the money is in the follow-up. Here's a stat for you. 75% of entrepreneurs don't follow up with prospects after the initial point of contact. And the stats on multiple follow-ups drops sharply. Now, 80% of buying happens after the 5th point of contact. This is crazy, but it takes time to find a prospect. Like I said, it takes time to get that prospect on a call. It takes time to actually have a meeting with that person, only not to follow up with them. Sometimes people have to reschedule. Sometimes they push you off for a few weeks in between, but there's way too many people on your team that have way too many people in the follow-up pipe. They're in the abyss. Following up is an essential part of your business to keep the prospect interested and engaged in the sales process. Salespeople must have a clear follow-up plan to ensure they're making regular contact with the prospects. Don't give up after 1 or 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes the best people take 6, 7, 8 tries to finally meet and close a deal. But this is your responsibility as a leader to teach your team this concept. If you aren't doing this yourself, start doing it for you and then teach it to your team. Or share this YouTube video with them and let me teach them. Here's the next one, poor timing. At the end of the day, timing is everything in sales. Sometimes your teammates are not able to close a deal if they're not aware of the prospect's timing for getting started in your business or purchasing a plan. If the timing's not right, the prospect may not be willing to get started. So making sure your teammates are asking the appropriate questions around timelines and urgency and when this prospect would like to get started with this plan or into your business. You're never going to close somebody who feels the timing isn't right. Never. So training your teammates on asking questions around this is going to be key. My next point is they can't handle basic objections. At the end of the day, objections in sales are just questions. If your team can't handle the basic objections of closing a sale, they're never going to see success. You have to train them on constantly how to handle objections and how to teach them how to embrace questions. Don't get scared if they ask questions, right? Don't let your team be scared if they ask questions. People who ask questions want more information because they're looking to make a purchase or looking to start. What really freaks me out is people that ask no questions because they're either going to have buyer's remorse or they'll have zero interest in what I'm doing. So questions are good, but the question is this: is your team equipped to handle the concerns or questions that need to be addressed by the prospect before they're willing to move forward? See, part of your job is to identify what those questions and objections are and provide a solution that addresses the prospect's concerns before they even get brought up. By the way, let me know in the comments below if you want me to create some sales objection training on my next YouTube video. My next point, because failure to build trust. Trust is crucial in sales. In the beginning of every presentation and throughout the entire meeting, we teach our team how to build rapport with people. Building rapport with people is finding commonalities. It's finding common ground and common interests. The more the prospect feels like they can relate to the person sitting in front of them, the more likely they are to move forward. See, when you build trust, you become more likable. If the prospect does not trust the person that's selling or the company, it's going to be challenging to close any deal. Your team must establish trust with the prospect by being transparent, honest, reliable, and finding commonalities. They must also follow through on their promises and commitments. Building trust takes time, but it's essential to closing a deal successfully and keeping that deal closed. My next point, not understanding the prospect's needs. Finally, salespeople may struggle to close a deal if they do not understand the prospect's needs. They must be able to identify the prospect's pain points and offer a solution that addresses those. Our teammates must be able to customize their words to meet the prospect's specific needs. This is really one of the biggest reasons why people can't close. This also comes with being a great listener and a great communicator and learning how to communicate effectively around the prospect's needs. As I wrap up, look, closing a sale is not always easy, and there can be various reasons why a person on your team may struggle to close a deal. Poor preparation, lack of confidence, poor communication skills, inability to sit with both decision makers. Maybe it's a lack of follow-up or timing or not addressing the objections. Maybe it's a failure to build trust or not understanding the prospect's needs. However, by being aware of these challenges and taking the necessary steps as a leader to help your team overcome them, people on your team are significantly going to have a better shot at closing and making money. So while you wait for the next video, I have a video on how to master the basic human needs. This is also a game changer if you want to learn more about how to move people. All right, you guys, I hope you guys got some value to this video. I hope you identified one or two things that you need to get better at in terms of training your team. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it some love and share it with your team.